Welcome back to page 121. Today on the channel we're going to take a look at the brand new field catalog from Mongoose for 2nd edition. This is part of the Mercenaries line and came with the Mercenary Kickstarter. Unfortunately I didn't get into the Mercenary Kickstarter, but I did pick this book up. I'm going to take a look at this book, take a look at the back. We're going to take a look at this book and show you the goodies inside, and yeah, I like this book a lot. Also want to remind you I'm doing a drive for subscriptions. If you are on the fence, you've watched some of my videos, you may or may not like what you saw. I hope you like it. If you did, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to over 1,000, the mystical number for YouTube. So half of my views still come from people that haven't subscribed. So come on in. It's a lot of fun. We talk about games a lot. So that, and I've got a Patreon going. I'm trying to grow the channel a little bit. So any help I can get there would be wonderful too. So that's it for the sales pitch. I just want to take a look today at the field catalog for Traveler. Traveler field catalog, a couple of our gear on the cover and some combat armor with some nice, got a heavy weapon there, and we're not sure what that guy is, but I love it anyway. I love Mongoose's production quality on these books. It is outstanding. These books are just beautiful to hold in your hand. They smell great. I'm one of those book sniffers. My wife always laughs. I sniff books and old comic books. I just love the smell. Mongoose delivers definitely in that regard. Trying to get my lighting so the glare is gone. There we go. And we're going to take a look here. Now everybody's going, oh, this is Mercenary. I don't need all those heavy weapons. They're not going to come into play. No, there is a lot in this book that's not just for Mercenary campaign. You could use this in every Traveler campaign. I did like the artwork in this book. I usually kind of complain about some of the artwork. I'm not. I like this one. So we get a lot of special rules to start this book, which is kind of neat. We get we start out with soldier loadouts. How much you can carry into combat, how much you can carry while in combat. Some good rules for that. I'm not a huge encumbrance guy. As long as my players are carrying a reasonable amount of stuff, I'm not too worried about encumbrance, but there's some nice tight rules here. Now we come to weapon traits. These weapon traits are newer to this book, and you get some interesting ones. You know, they burn, you get corrosion resistant, corrosive, emission signature, hazardous, inaccurate, incendiary, low penetration, physical signature, ramshackle, slow loader. Pretty interesting weapon traits, and those are used throughout the book. And we have spread X, unreliable X, weapon power, and hazardous weapon. So you get some nice stuff in here to have your weapons. Maybe they misbehave a little bit, or if you've got a flamethrower, it gives you the rules for if you hit something with the flamethrower, how long does that subject continue to take damage, that kind of stuff. We get into concepts and special circumstances, which gives us a lot on the range conditions. This was kind of neat because it goes into, in this case, more battlefield than anything else. But we have close quarters or combat range. Then we go to battlefield to standoff range. And then the theater itself, the combat theater itself. Then we talk about vacuum and low gravity conditions, which is pretty neat. We get into a lot of indirect fire, bombardment, and standoff combat. It's all called out very clearly here, and it's all stuff that you can add some nice subtleties to your Traveler theater operations. And we get stained fire and weapon overheating. Weapon overheating is not really anything I've dealt with outside of Battletech. So it's kind of cool to see it here. I don't know how much it's going to come up in a standard game, but in a game where you are using some of these heavier weapons, the more exotic weapons, if you will, overheating can definitely be an issue. And then we go to area fire, where you can just bombard a position, suppressing fire. All these are nice rules for use in your Traveler game. Manually guided weapons, area and point defense, attacking vehicles. This almost felt a little Battletech-ish too. We're into some of the bigger weapons when we're talking about this stuff. And Battletech, if you've ever played it, is big on lasers and missiles attacking your big battle robot to damage it and possibly destroy it. There are point defense and things like that. So a little bit of Battletech flavor out of it, and that's always a good thing for me, by the way. High and low penetration. Interesting thoughts. You might want a low pen weapon, low penetration, aboard a starship. you don't want to blow out that important computer console or maybe a chunk of the hull. So low pen might be the way to go when you're up in a ship. Something with the weapon signature, detecting and locating the weapon based on the signature, how loud it is, how bright the muzzle flash is. Camouflage and stealth. And then we get to quick draw. Quick draw is the one that kept my eye, and I read through a couple of times because this is probably going to be the one that I may, of all these rules, this will be the one that might most commonly come up in a game. And this one I may actually just drop into my game. It would basically be for the beginning scenario. You can have your weapon, such as a handgun, which has a quick draw thing. How quickly can you ready that weapon and point it at your target? Well, you got a +8 for handgun. And then you go all the way down to, light machine gun at -4 and an anti-materiel rifle at -8. These are just the longer weapons that are tougher to bring to bear. A lightweight assault rifle has no mod. A short shotgun has still a +2. This would mean you have the shotgun slung, you get into a combat situation, you're able to sling it and fire it. I like the idea of having quick draw for the initial moments of a combat. And I am definitely going to try this. I haven't test played it yet, but I am going to try it in the next Traveler game I run. Then we get to knockdown. I've always wondered about knockdown. It's not really called out a ton in rule sets like Traveler or Cepheus. And this one talks about, your weapon has a knockdown factor, for instance, a shotgun. And it goes to say, even if you're wearing body armor and you don't take any damage from the shotgun blast, you still have a chance of getting knocked down. And that's pretty good too, because that can be a very effective thing to use a shotgun for. Think in Terminator 2, when the shape-changing android's coming up on them, they're using the shotgun to keep it from closing with them. That'd be a pretty good example. They don't knock it down, but they do make it stagger back. How to break your weapon? Not hard to do, actually. Distraction from weapons. Gas and chemical weapons. Distractions, by the way, would be like flashbangs, things like that. Gas and chemical weapons. Your standard tear gas, pepper spray. Incendiary and flame weapons. Corrosive weapons. Something that shoots something that's going to corrode the target. Military and civilian electronic systems. Goes into a lot of stuff here about the military is really just an upgraded version of most civilians, so you get part swappability and things like that, which makes perfect sense. And then it goes into electromagnetic field and pulse effects. There's some good rules in here for an EMP, and possibly an EMP grenade, that type of thing, where you can just drop the grenade and suppress the electronics or fry them entirely. Rules are called out right there. And then demolitions. You got to blow up that bridge. How do you do it? Here you go. Now we know. Now we go to personal weapon design. This is the section I was excited about, and it did not disappoint. You can make your own weapons. It breaks down the parts you need: the receiver, the barrel, the furniture. I had never heard of this term before. It's the stock foregrip or anything like that that you would add to the weapon. Accessories like scopes, laser pointers, and then your feed devices for the ammunition to feed in. I thought this section was well thought out. I have fired a gun in my past. I've just never owned one. I'm not a gun enthusiast, but I can see that some serious thought was put into this by some folks that did know some weapons, and I liked it. Here's your advanced weapon design worksheet. So if you want a revolver, but you want to shoot explosive rounds for whatever reason, kind of like Hellboy's Peacemaker, well, you can do it. You'll end up with the cost, the weight, and everything else. And the costs are brought out here. The cost is plus 20% for modified ammunition, and then it's plus 10% to the weight because the bullets are bigger, and it gives you all the dollar amounts and everything. So you can work out your own weapon on the sheet, just like you can, Starship on the Starship sheet. You got conventional firearms, receivers, and then projectile weapon mechanisms. So single shot, repeater, semi-automatic, burst capable, fully automatic, rapid fire, very rapid fire, and then for use underwater. The recoil on it, the receiver features themselves, how are you going to be able to load and fire the weapon. Just some nice rules in here that's going to make you think new things. There's a lot of good Gauss weapons brought up in this, and I'm a massive Gauss weapon fan. Just I've always liked it, one of my favorite things of Traveler, and this goes into some of that as well. Rifle calibers, And then we get a bunch of the weapons that are brought out have a nice little damage sheet. So there you go. It's right there for you. Now we go into Gauss weapons a little bit. I like that section a lot. And then multi-barrel weapons, rotary weapons, and multi-mounts, ammunition capacity, all kinds of detail in here for you. Here's the furniture, how you're going to build the weapon itself physically, the accessories for it, sighting devices, extended magazines, all kinds of stuff in here. Other accessories like a bayonet lug. I'd never really thought about a bayonet lug on a pistol. I actually have seen that once. It's something I never really remembered until I read this, and I thought, well, that'd be interesting. It'd be almost like wielding just a knife. So an interesting thought there. And then advanced weapon design worksheet, how you do it. And then just special ammunition. You want to fire, something for enhanced wounding, explosive, flechette, gas rounds, low penetration for aboard ship, pellets for spread, grenades, warheads, and explosives. So if you can think it, you can build it out of this. And then we get grenade weapons called out here, already made for use. And that was the other aspect of this book that I really enjoyed, is there's some weapons in here I can just take. I don't have to screw around with anything. I can just take them right out of here and use them in my game. So we have projector structures for your weapon, power packs. These are for the heavier weapons. And then we go to personal and light support weaponry. Yay! And I like the illustrations, yes. They got rid of the fanciful looking stuff, and they gave us weapons that you might actually see. So yay, thank you, Mongoose. There's a nice axe, the entrenching tool, stealth dagger, a security shield, a boarding shield. I think it's amazing the shields have actually made a comeback in some of the modern tactics. Police use shields and things. They've never really gone away, but that was something that was not in common use when I was younger, and it's come back in a big way. And then we get into low-tech firearms. So we get the civilian shotgun. This guy is just your standard shotgun. We got a crunch gun. It's just, and now we get into a bunch of weapons. The adjudicator. And this, I did not expect to have this many weapons in the catalog. I was expecting it more to be a how-to book and how to make your own and stuff. I did not think we'd get this many completed weapons in here, and yet here they are. And they're not just, oh, I'm not running a mercenary campaign, I can't possibly use the stuff in that book. Wrong. If you play Traveler, you can use this book. If you play Classic Traveler, you can use this book. All this stuff translates beautifully to other editions of Traveler. I'm amazed at the almost seamless transition between Classic Traveler and even Mega Traveler to Mongoose Traveler 1st and 2nd edition. It's fun. 2nd edition especially feels a lot like Classic Traveler. So we're getting all kinds of different weapons here. I'm really excited about how many weapons we got. Nice illustrations of the weapons. I'm a sucker for any kind of weapon catalog for a game I'm playing, and especially with illustrations. The Eliminator Close Assault Weapon. These are just a lot of fun. A Gauss Assault Weapon. We're talking this thing's got a quick draw advantage of 2 and 3 dice damage. That's just excellent. And it goes into the manufacturers and Stell Arms, things like that. The Planet Sider Assault Weapon. Just a lot of fun stuff in here. I'm going to blow through the weapons a little bit, the ballistic weapons a little bit. Here's some low G weapons, so you're not being spun because you fired your gun. A shipmate snub pistol, or snub weapon. It's a mini revolver, or mini automatic weapon. Just all kinds of goodies in here. Like I said, there's Gauss. I want to get past these. Now we're into specialist weapons. There's your flamethrower. You got a xenomorph on board, which, by the way, xenomorphs and predators both exist in my Traveler universe. They're not as plentiful as they could be, but they do both exist. My players are unnerved by that fact. A cryojet combat weapon. used to freeze things. In here they talk about freezing something to make it more brittle to break it open, like a door or something like that, then shoot the door. These are just cool. Directed energy weapon, personal directed energy weapon. Launchers, the RPGs, the spigot mortar, light munition launcher, advanced squad support weapon, just all kinds of good stuff here. Now we go to warhead grenades and warhead delivery systems. We're getting into some serious boom boom stuff now. And now we get to some personal equipment. So external thermal regulation unit. In other words, a chill can, a heat sink for your weapon. If it tends to overheat, you can install a heat sink. Again, it's a Battletech thing for me. That's where I first became familiar with heat sinks. Of course, the concept is used everywhere in everyday life, but it's still cool. We have some new armor. We've got a match tarp. We've got a Faraday weave suit. We've got thermal regulation covering for the man that needs to get up close and personal. Clothing and armor. The discrete operations uniform, DOU. And then DOU with combat kit. Tech level 10, protection 6. And you got an environmental suit. And then you get field dress, enhanced, or advanced rather, and enhanced. And then you get a uniform bundle, which is pretty cool. So you guys all look spiffy and the same. Now you get your electronics. You get a nice auto hack to break in to defense systems. Comm scrambler, an interface box, allows you to interface with the computer system. A military portacomp, what's not to love? I know when I show my players this book, the next time we get together, I'm going to trot this book out and show it to them. I know that they're going to really want me to kind of highlight some stuff and some stuff they're going to want to use for their characters. One quick note about my Traveler campaign. I am actually the only one in my Traveler campaign that actually reads Traveler outside of the actual play. My players really don't read it. They are interested in it. They enjoy playing Traveler, but they're not collecting the books or anything. And that, strangely enough, has almost always been my situation with Traveler. I've almost always been the sole book provider for any Traveler campaign I've run. And yet I've taught many, many people how to play Traveler. I just don't know why a lot of them didn't buy stuff. Some of them bought a little bit. I think it's great to have the books. If I'm a player in a game, I buy the books, not to power game or rules lawyer. I want to get into the game. I want to really enjoy it. So anyway, some more of the equipment that I'll be bringing to their attention. Just all kinds of stuff. And here we go, the personal heads-up display. We've got support weaponry now. These are the sentry guns from Aliens, where they put them in the little ducks, and they have the sentry guns fire down on the xenomorphs that are trying to get them. Got all kinds of options here. I actually gave them an underslung gun, an anti-personnel gun, near the hatch of their Seeker scout vessel, kind of like the Han Solo drop-down weapon in Star Wars A New Hope, where, drop down and it fires and suppresses the stormtroopers for a few minutes so Han and crew can get aboard. I gave them the same thing, but with a heavy caliber weapon. I'm going to be rethinking that. I'm going to give them one of these heavy caliber weapons. I didn't have this book when I first did that. I gave them a weapon that was doing about 3d6 and it had auto fire, but I'm going to change it with some of these rules. And now we get to support equipment, personal and general equipment. Here's an automatic. Very handy to have around, especially in Traveler. It's a support cooling unit, breaching charge, a demolition block. All very important, and again, not necessarily just in a mercenary campaign. Demolition charges, again, a nuclear demolition charge, which is just a really cool idea. And mines and modifications, and mine modifications. Defensive equipment, Frackles, right there. Sensor fence, I like that idea a lot. Sky Spotter, which is just a drone, but it's a really good drone. The Arrow Dagger, a battle mule. It's a little robot that has guns on it. A designator for designating your target. We get down to the heavier weapons too. You can, again, this can be the sentry, or it can be even heavier than that. These are some pretty powerful weapons. Very rapid fire Gauss support weapon. I love the VRF. Artillery weapons, missiles. There's just all kinds of goodies in here. And yes, you certainly can use these in a mercenary campaign, but some of these may show up being used by or against your player characters. Now we go to heavy equipment. I like this one, a field armory, where you actually have a place to keep all the weaponry, where your guys can't just come and snatch out whatever they want. A field barracks, field medical unit. All important in any kind of military-esque sci-fi game. You're going to run into this type of thing there. Field nuclear damper, which is really cool. The workshop, military satellite launcher. I like that idea. Mobile fusion reactor, vehicular citadel, vehicular NBC protection. Now we come to the true vehicles themselves. I like that they gave us vehicles in this. There was a little bonus coming up in here that I got really excited about. I like the vehicles. That's just so cool. Going through the vehicles kind of quick. I want to get to the last thing in here, which was for me a genuine surprise. Got a little grav sled. I love grav sleds in Traveler. Any kind of grav transport's just really cool. And I couldn't believe it when I got to this point, but there's some starships in here. A diplomatic skiff with nice deck plans and your total build. I thought that was so cool. We got a gunship. Why not? And again, nice deck plan and a salt ship. This was, for me, a surprise. I had no real background on this. We've got a transport. I'm going to finish up the ships. I had no real background on what to expect out of this. When I was buying it, Advanced Weapon Design Worksheet. Because as I said, I did not get in on the Kickstarter, so I didn't see any nuts and bolts as to what was going to be in what. But I knew as soon as I saw that this was a field catalog, I was going to want to get my hands on it. I am in love with this book. This book is going to be on the table all the time right next to my rule book. There's just so much fun stuff in here. Again, this is something you could generate whole campaigns out of, just what's in this book as far as your weaponry and things like that. You would have to come up with a scenario, of course, but you would certainly not want for ways to deal with an opponent when you have this book at your fingertips. I think Mongoose did a really nice job on this. I like the artwork a lot. I like this cover artwork. I think it's got a nice ominous feel to it. I love the quality of these books. The bindings are excellent. I've had this book open quite a bit. It's still not going to lay flat. I mean, no, it will eventually after a while, but these bindings are not going to give up the ghost anytime soon. And I like that in a book. I want durability, especially if I'm paying a high price. This book was $50. You do get the free PDF download with the book. What I always do is I order the book, and then while I'm waiting for the book to arrive, and I got this in about 5 days. While I'm waiting for the book to arrive, I start reading the PDF. So I had a head start on this by the time the actual physical book got here. So Field Catalog, recommend it if you are playing Traveler in any kind of serious way. I think this is a must-have. I think this is, if you're even a casual reader of Traveler, or you're playing Cepheus or even Star Frontiers, there's some fabulous ideas you can mine out of this. Even Alternity. Yes, I said Alternity. I was a big fan of Alternity when it was out in the late 90s, and I may be doing a video on that soon. So that's all I've got to say today about the Field Catalog. I recommend it completely. I like this book a lot. I think Mongoose is really putting out some excellent product right now, and I do appreciate that. We're getting quality for our money, and I do appreciate that is what's happening. So that's all I've got to say for today. Please remember to subscribe if you like what you heard and saw. And please remember the Patreon. If you can help out there, that'd be great. But other than that, thank you for your time. And I'll see you next time on page 121.